Looks like I'm live. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me, because I don't know if I can hear. Looks like I'm live. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Okay, I can hear myself. I don't know if it's working. Looks like I'm live. Okay, noise should be gone. All right. Thought since we're just about to start, and we would love it if there were like 10 people who, because of me, managed to, start their own blog and publish their first post this weekend. I'll call that a success if that happens. So let's try to get 10 people to start watching it. And to give you entertainment for the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna browse my Twitter feed. It's interesting, right? Everybody has a different Twitter feed because of the algorithm. So let's take a peek into what I see when I open Twitter. Mostly I browse uh, in pockets during the day when there's time. Otherwise, the week passes in a blur of work. But let's see what's happening. Competition tweet, story tweet. Sorry, I have a habit of now bucketing tweets because it's kind of become like that. You can see patterns in the way people are tweeting. Biggest thing is it then makes you conscious about the way you're tweeting, which makes it hard to tweet. Elon Musk tweet, of course, that's a new crane. Ah, yeah. Guys, we need more such people. We need more Elon Musks in the world. The John phenomenon. It's like when you have a massive following on, oh, you have 23,000 followers following on Twitter. When you share someone else's work, could just make their first $1,000 or 100 visitors in this case. Mm, learn. These are some of my favorite kind of tweets. The ones where somebody shares. It's either your first-hand learning, where you're sharing something you did and you're sharing that explicit experience, which is never going to do mass appeal because the purpose is to appeal to a narrow group of people who have that same problem, who want to learn how to do this. Which is, I think, why most of my tweets, which are from blog posts, don't get that many likes. And I made peace with it very early on. 6 people now. Let's keep it up. Just keep sharing this till there are 10 people and we'll start this. 8 people now. This thing works. I guess I should keep streaming my Twitter feed. But yeah, where was I? The first-hand knowledge is not mostly not of mass appeal. The second is we observe something that you haven't done, but you have seen someone else do, and you turn it into a digestible nugget. Something that Twitter loves this dopamine. Move on. So that's also very useful because as long as you can turn it into something educational, it helps others. And the third is, tweet threads, which are basically series of dopamine hits. Mostly 9 out of 10 times you browse through them, you like a few of them. You probably like the first one, which gets highest number of likes always, and you may not learn much, or you may not take away that learning and apply it anywhere else. So the retention of that knowledge is very small. But for that time being, you're entertained, you're happy, or you that dopamine release happened. It's not very. I mean, Twitterati might believe we are superior to Instagrammers or TikTokers, but we are not very different in the way that they derive their dopamine from a video 15-second feed of a different attention span and different format. I just literally saw this and my brain subconsciously wired those words into my mouth. But it's not very different. It's just a delivery method. The format is different. And that's why Twitter threads work, just like 15-second reels work. It's quick dopamine hits. Who are these people? Some of them I don't. Okay, I know him. If you're gonna, I don't know him. I like discovering new people on Twitter. I don't like that when, if I like a few tweets from one person, Twitter starts showing me tens of tweets from the same person. And then some of the people whose tweets I haven't liked for a while, you don't see them until I go to my following list and just check them out one by one. Like, hey, let me like 5 of your tweets because I want to see your tweets. like Tim Ferriss. There are 11 people. Okay, great. This thing works. I guess I should just do this full time and like start streaming YouTube, start streaming my Twitter feed to YouTube, and maybe I don't even know what this is. Maybe I'll grow my followers faster. Joking. Followers is just a count. Shouldn't take it seriously. Uh, Coronavirus is back in the news. There are travel restrictions being set up in India, which is we were kind of for the last 3 months behaving as if there is no COVID happening. Uh, every bar is full. I'm guilty. I go to bars too, like once in a week or once in 2 weeks, and it's full. It's as if nothing has changed. I mean, the funniest part was why are we pretending? Because to the moment you walk into the bar, you're wearing your mask. The moment you walk in and you sit down at your seat, you remove it, and I just look at it like I look everywhere and I'm like, did you see that? Do you see this doesn't make sense. Why just pretend? But then the obvious side effect of that was there was going to be a second wave. The number of cases are rising again, and I'm done streaming my feed. Let's go to. All right, great. 11 people, good enough. Uh, Here's the purpose of this uh, live stream this weekend. I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone and try something new. I thought of recording all the videos and building a blog in isolation. Sounded boring in my head. So instead, yeah, great. Write comments here. As things go, I'll keep taking breaks, like not breaks as in I disappear and abandon you, but breaks where I'm like, okay, let me look at the comments and say what is not going well in the stream. What should I do better on? Maybe I'm not speaking clearly enough. Maybe the example was not explained well enough. The idea is you keep telling me and I keep adjusting based on that. And in case a concept was not super clear, I'll try to explain that part. But in general, I'll try to keep it very simple. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, I'm assuming you have a Webflow account already. If not, just sign up. This is free. Publishing your website on a Webflow domain, something.webflow.io, is completely free. When you need to connect your own your name.com or something your brand name.com domain, only then you need to pay for hosting. Actually, since payment came up, a lot of people say it costs $16 a month or $144 a year to use Webflow, and they, they say, oh, you shouldn't I just like write code and build it myself, or try to use another solution that costs less, that costs me $5 a month instead of $16 a month. So you want to try to think of the concept of time value of money, and and this requires the prerequisite is you should know your own time value of money. Like how much are you worth per hour? Are you worth $10 per hour? Are you worth $100 an hour? Let's assume you're worth $100 an hour just for the sake of illustration. Now, what that means is if Webflow 16, it costs you, uh, I think the yearly plan costs you $144 a year. So that's $144 for 12 months, by the way, like if you take the yearly plan. And if your hourly rate is $100, that means that Webflow saves you like an hour and a half in one whole year in maintaining and building this blog or website versus any other method of doing it, like using a cheaper tool that might require you to do more setup, or maybe doesn't have as many templates, or hosting it and setting up the host, or maybe every time you need to update the website you need to deploy it somewhere, uh, or you need to connect CMS, or you need to do extra work to set up SEO, technical SEO. If you spend more than 1.5 hours in the whole year doing that, whole year, not one day, then Webflow is cheaper because your time value is worth more. And this is the primary reason why I tell people to use Webflow. Now, why Webflow versus another simpler website builder? I'm a big fan of tools that act as an empty canvas. So, what does an empty canvas mean? It means I can paint however I want, and the tool tries to be as less limiting as possible. That's why I use Figma instead of Canva. Canva is not a bad software at all, but if you know how to paint on a canvas, you can't go to Canva, which is a constrained canvas. It has way more rules, it has way more limitations, and it works better for people who need standardized, structured, kind of content creation and don't want to build on an empty canvas every time. But I feel like once you know how to, wield around an empty canvas like this, it's hard to go back. It's hard to give up this freedom of being able to build anything that you imagine. And therefore, Webflow. Webflow is like Figma, but for building websites. Uh, I mean, I use that analogy. It doesn't have the same interface and all, but it comes really close in terms of flexibility. So let's get started. Uh, I hope if you haven't, you just create your free account by now, and we'll create a new project. And we're not going to use any template, although you can totally use a new template after this video and try it out. At least my first website, I'll actually show you my first website. It's still live because it's on the Webflow domain. So that stays for free forever, I guess. They don't delete it. I made this for a product we were building in 2018, which failed uh, and, and gave us a lot of learnings. But this website remains. And guess what? I built this website in a weekend. The first time I ever built something, a website of my own and published it from scratch. And the thrill, the energy, the creative release I felt that being able to do this was just amazing. And how this happened was I basically went to Webflow's Discover section, the showcase section, searched for all the clonable templates. I think I went through maybe 100, 200, or 300 of them. And I liked and opened in separate pages all the ones that I felt were good or good enough or something that I liked from them. And this completely goes in line with my don't try to be original when you're just getting started. Copy from everyone. Copy the best things you can copy. Put them together in a hodgepodge. Just make it work somehow with like duct tape, uh, and later try to build your own stuff once you're feeling a little more confident or you're able to wield the paintbrush on the canvas better. So I would take these kind of templates. I would clone the project or open it in Webflow. Let's actually try that. I would basically look for, I need a component, I need a design that looks like this, a title and an image. So I would look for something. This one obviously is not exact the same thing, but let's assume this was good enough for me. I would, I'll show you how all of this works in a bit. I would copy this and paste it into my new project. So let's actually go ahead, select a blank site, say build a blog. Whoever writes microcopy it. Yeah. I guess I can't copy it directly. Yeah, I need to clone this project and then I can copy paste. So what I did was I cloned the projects that I wanted to copy elements from, and I would copy them like this section. I probably copied it from a website which had a left right alignment like this, and I copied it. Then I edited it like anything till it looked like this, and did that few times. Did it for this too, because I didn't know what I was doing except that I needed something that looked like this on my website. So I copy pasted. Oh my god, I spent so much time making this work, and it works. Actually, it still works. Okay. uh, but the whole experience taught me that this is possible, this is doable. And it's kind of funny that had a similar experience when I started to design. uh, when I started designing, it was like I was terrible at it. And I could barely make anything on an empty canvas. I was like, there was a time when I spent 3 hours and I think the canvas had these many elements after 3 hours. And I was like, okay, this is not working out. So I started finding UI kits for Figma, existing designs, and I started cloning all those projects. These are all free UI kits. Cloning all those projects and copy pasting the elements I like and just putting them together, stitching them together till a design came out. How else do you think I made the design for this app? This is not me. This is 50 different apps, probably elements of each copied and pasted. There were other screens, obviously. This is one of the screens. But yeah, that's how I got started, and now I'm able to design on an empty canvas. So take the same approach. Don't be afraid of copying. Cool. I have a small curriculum here, a simple one, which lets us it'll ease us into the whole Webflow interface. But before that, let me just check. Are the 10 people still with us? Okay, we lost some people. Hey, Kevin, thanks so much for the support. It's okay. I'm going to share the recording anyway. 10 people. If 10 people start their blog this weekend, this whole project is successful. Uh, like even if they don't, I won't beat myself up. But I would really enjoy it if 10 people created their blog and then said, "Here's my first blog post." That's the whole purpose of this: get more people to create their own content. Okay, great. So the first part of the curriculum is how Webflow works and how to think in boxes and in elements. Uh, what is boxes and elements here? Well, Webflow is a website builder, and websites are basically HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript when you need interactivity. But in this case, let's just say it's all HTML and CSS. HTML is skeleton, CSS is style. So I could create a box like this, it's HTML. I could set colors, add a border, put a drop shadow, that's all CSS. But the skeleton is HTML. Uh, that's HTML and CSS in a nutshell. And now the way web works, any web page is built, is you have to think in boxes and elements. So let's look at one website. Let's look at my blog. I'll be trying to create. I'll try to create something similar to this, as this is what people asked me a lot about. How did I create this blog? So I'll try to recreate this. But let's see. You see this header here? Let's just break down this header. What's happening here? There's one box here, which is to contain this whole header. First box. There's a second box here, which is putting constraints and saying that the header starts here and ends here in this amount of width. It doesn't go beyond this. So the second box is acting like a container, but it's a box. So it's a box within a box. Now, if we keep following this path, I need a box for this left element, and I need a box to contain all of these elements. So one more box, one box here, then box, 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 box. So let's see, that's exactly what I've done here. The first box is, okay, this is the area I have demarcated to make something, in this case, the navigation bar. The second box, it contains all the navigation elements and constrains it to some width or height or something like that. Third box, this box is on the left, and I'm going to put my brand, obviously not that size. Yeah, I'm going to put my brand name there. Okay, yeah. So this is an element in this case, but it's inside a box. And here I need multiple like similar elements. I need multiple links. So to contain those links, I'll put them inside a box. Then I'll put the links inside them. Box, don't worry if you didn't get this, but it's boxes and elements. So you create a box, you put something in it. You might put another box in it because you want to arrange those boxes in a certain way. In this case, this box and this box are arranged in a certain way, left and right, and the arrangement is being applied by the box, parent box above it. It's saying that whatever is inside, put them on the opposite ends. Anyway, that's too much in one shot. Uh, but now I'm going to show it to you practically. Let's create boxes and elements. So I need a place for the navigation bar. Webflow has this thing called section, and you can use divs if you want, which is another HTML element. But I use sections in Webflow simply whenever I want a whole new, quite literally a section. So to contain stuff like maybe a whole blog post body, I'll put it inside a section. Inside a section, we put a container. Uh, Now you see that the container helps you put some constraints, and the container in general, HTML container helps make helps make content inside it responsive. Responsive as in, if I resize the window, if I look at it on mobile, the content will still wrap around it. We'll keep getting to it, don't worry. So inside the container, uh, I need one more box for this and a box to contain the links. So let's do that. There's one box, there's two boxes. Let's expand this. Okay, so I'm going to put one more box here. And now inside the first box, I'm going to put an element. Let's call it, we'll not call it anything. Let's just say it's my blog name. And inside the second box, this one, I'm going to put three links. So let's put link one. I'll just copy paste. As you can see, it's here. I'll just copy, paste, paste, done. So let's say blog about contact. All right. Well, this doesn't look pretty, and and it's not quite arranged in the way you want it to. We can solve that very easily. So this is where CSS comes in. Uh, as you can see, I have this one box and I have this other box, and I want these boxes to be in the same line. So the parent box, the one above it, I'm going to tell it whatever is underneath it, put it in the same line. So there's a way to do that. It's called flex. You won't understand everything. Just follow along these steps. And as you keep doing them, you'll understand each concept. If I have to explain every concept, this video is never going to end. And it's also going to fly over your head just like it did the first time I tried this. So don't worry about it. Just keep following. As you can see, Flex gives me more options. It tells me, do I want to place elements horizontally or vertically like it was right before this? I want it horizontally, but I also want this box to be on the left and this box to be on the right. Flex gives me a way to justify elements like this. That's it. So as you can see, now I have my name on the left and these links on the right. Okay, great. Looks quite bland, so let's just give it a little bit of styling. Let's say brand link, and I'm going to give it some styling. I'm going to use enter everywhere. Okay, enter is not here because I didn't add it. Never mind. Cool. We'll use open sans. You can always change that later. All right. So, oops, put it on the wrong place. Okay. Now, what happens is if you want to apply a style to this, and if you want to apply the same style to these, what you can do is you can give it a class. Class is simply like a label. It says that this element has something similar about it. So say let's try it on these. Let's say these are nav link. This is also a nav link, and this is also a nav link. Now if I apply a style, since all three of them have the nav link class, they're all going to change. Let's try that. I'm going to change the color first. That works. Yep, that works. This one didn't change because I didn't put that class, but if I add it now, style got applied. I'm going to remove it because I want to put a different style to it. And now, as you can see, the links are kind of stuck together. How do you change that? I want to put some space between the elements. So I'm simply going to put margin on the left. Should I put margin on the left? Yep, fine. Should work for now. That's it. That doesn't look enough. So let's make it 16. That looks enough. Let's see how it looks on mobile. Looks fine. Little close to the edges. Let's fix that. All right, let's fix that with container devlog. Yes. So as you can see, this doesn't require anything on the desktop because it's not going to the edges. But as I go to a screen, oh, this is like a landscape mobile screen. Here, I would want to put something like 8px margin padding on the left, 8px. This is the parent box, which contains the other boxes. Maybe 8 is a little too less, so let's make it 12. And this style also gets applied to the next line. I'll get to that in a little bit. But now you can see that, okay, the links are not touching the edges. What did we do? We applied something called padding. Padding is when you have a box and you want to put space within the box. So this is the box outline and there's space within it, padding. And margin is when you want to push space outside a box. So we put margin here, which means whatever is the next element to it, it's trying to push it away a little bit if it has space. If it doesn't, then something else might happen. We'll do that later. Okay, the links have some space from the sides, but they're still stuck to the top. Not that great, right? So let's fix that. Next, let's put 12 from the top and 12 from the bottom. Padding. Yep, slightly looking better now. Let's see. This one's not looking that great, so let's make it nav brand link. Just coming up with names, you can come up with anything, but try to use a nomenclature that you can remember what it was for later. Otherwise, it gets difficult. I want this to be my name, my blog's name. So my name looks weird. So let's just put my name in this case. And I want to make the font slightly stronger, maybe even apply a little bit of color. So let's do that. Okay, I somehow picked this color. Maybe I want to make the font slightly stronger, so I made it semi-bold, font slightly larger. That's it. Looks nice, but I don't want that underline, and maybe you don't want it to. So you can see that there's something called decoration here. When I remove that, the underline is gone. Cool. We have a header. It's a fully functional header. Now I'm just going to tell you what all we did right here. We created a section. We put a container inside it. Uh, these are pretty standard. Again, like I use them as a hierarchical way to put anything within anything. You can directly start with a div log if you want. But there are some styles that sections and containers already have, which constrain elements within some window, which helps. So I just go with it. And then I use boxes, box, box, box. First box allowed me to center these elements, put them on the left and right, like this box, the child boxes. And then it also allowed me to add some gap from the top and bottom and allowed me to add some gap on the sides. Now, what happened here? Uh, I used layout, which is basically quite obvious. I use layout to be able to say that I want to change the way these elements are positioned. So that's where I use layout to add flex. Again, all these elements you learn one by one, but layout basically means how are elements positioned. Spacing, quite obvious again. If you want to add spacing outside or inside a box, I use that to, as you can see, it highlights exactly where the spacing was added. Size, size of the element. We'll get to it. It's more obvious when you use an image or something. Typography, again, very straightforward. The font use, the font size, any styling on the text, like aligning it, center aligning it, justify, italicize like this, or text decoration, which is basically underline, strike through, and stuff like that. So all of these options are available here, and this is what we did. I would say that if you are trying to familiarize yourself with this, just go through each of them one by one. Don't try to go. Don't try to look at everything. Look at layout. Okay, try all of these options, just see what happens. Try spacing, try everything. Just put everything and just see what happens as you change them. Size, position, do the same thing. You can ignore borders and effects for the time being, but try layout, spacing, and at least typography. Those are the main ones. Okay, and then something else happened here. As you can see, there's no space in this box on the corner. It's not even here because it's still away from the edge, but it's here. This padding only comes in after this view and anything lower than that. So what's happening here is uh, HTML, CSS is cascading style sheets. What that means is if I apply a style on the computer, the desktop, that same style gets applied to a screen smaller than that, smaller than that, smaller than that. And if I apply a style only here, like on this screen width, and then the style does not apply to a screen larger than that, but it does apply to a screen smaller than that because it cascades CSS. So therefore, when I applied this padding here, the left and right one, it got applied below, but it wasn't applied on the ones above that. So that's CSS, the way cascading style sheets work in a nutshell. It goes from whichever screen you apply the style to lower ones. And if you want to apply something here and you want to change that here, set them in both places. So maybe I want font size 20 for this and this. So I'll put font size 20. But from here, I want font size 16. So I'll change it to 16. And this will have font size 16, something like that. Okay, with this we have a fully functional navbar. It doesn't have any links as such, but we can get to that later. Let's go to the next element. But let me take a quick. Oh, go slow, please. Okay, sorry about that. Um, I will try to make sure as I make each element, I'll go slower on them. Uh, like when I click on the new element creation. So it's hard to do that when you get into the flow. Okay, but don't worry if you didn't get it by now. It's nothing to worry. It took me months to figure out Webflow completely. We're going to create the next section now. What is the next section? The next section would be something to contain this whole text. the home page or about page, whichever. So let's do that. And let me see if that's part of my, yeah, that's the next element in my curriculum. Cool. I'm going to go here. These are the different options in Webflow to add elements onto the page. The first one is quite simply add element. There are a few more which we'll get to, but we are currently here. It's called the Navigator, and it lets you see all the elements of a given page. And the one below that lets you browse between different pages. So right now the website doesn't have other pages. We will be creating some. So we'll come to that later. But right now we're in the Navigator. Navigator shows you what all elements are in a given page. I want to add new elements. So I'm going to select plus. I'm going to select layout level section. I'm going to add plus container. Okay. And I'll add a div. Cool. Let's expand this. There you go. Now I need something to contain all of this. So what I can do is I can add an image. I can add a title. I can add text. I'll just show you how that works. You go back to plus, start scrolling this list of items. There's something called image. So I added an image. Now I can click plus again. I want a heading. There's something called heading. Heading. Plus again, I want a text paragraph. Paragraph. So technically I have what I need now. But there's another way to do this, which is instead of creating heading, paragraph, image every time, what you can do is you can simply add a rich text block. This one. And a rich text block lets you do all of these while typing it out. So, hey, this is the heading. And I can select no heading or heading. So, hey, this is my name. And then I can start writing paragraphs. This is the first paragraph. And the coolest part is I can add an image right here. So let's get SpongeBob image. Okay, this looks funnier. So I guess this one. I can add GIFs also. Cool. So I can click on this plus, click on image, on this. Done, and gives me some styling options. I want it on the left. It's done. You can just select text and give it a smaller heading, so H4, and you can add ordered or unordered lists. Great work 1, another work 2, not so great, work 3. Yeah, cool. So this earlier part which I created, the image, the heading, the paragraph, I can delete it because everything can be done inside a rich text block. Technically we have our whole home page. I can actually copy paste this right here, and it won't look exactly like this, but for the purpose of this, yeah, you have the whole thing. Yeah, but the styling is not looking that great. So let's give it some styles. What do we do? What are the problems? I see that first we need some space from the top here. So let's do that first. Let's take this div block and add some space from the top. So it's within the element. I want to push the content inside this box below. I'm going to put something called 32px here. Went down a little bit. Does that look fine? Looks fine. And as you can see, the page is ending abruptly. Okay, it has some space already, so it's not a problem. But suppose I wanted to add some space below. Let's put 32px here. Okay, that gives it more. Oh, there's an empty element, that's why. Yeah, so now there's 32px below. And yeah, how does this look? Still doesn't look like this one. So let's see, what's the problem? Looks like the font size is too small, so let's make the font size bigger. Let's select a paragraph. So I'm selecting a paragraph here. I'm clicking here and saying, okay, select all paragraphs and apply this style. That should do it. Okay, great. The font size is bigger, but the sentences are too long. As you can see, it's very wide. So what to do about that? As you can see, this one is shorter, and it's because it's easier to read when it's shorter. So to fix that, I'm going to add spacing within. So earlier we added spaces in the top and the sides, top and the bottom. This time I'll add it to the sides. Not good enough. Let's try more. Close. Let's try a little more. Nice. This looks similar. It's got similar amounts of space, but there's a problem now. If I go down, oops. Remember CSS cascading? So this 128px is being applied below the screen size too, but I don't want that to happen. So here, I don't want this to be 128. I want it to be something like, actually I want it to be 0 in this case. And in the next one, oh, it definitely needs something here. So I'm going to put 12 and, sorry, what just happened? Yeah. Put 12 and 12. Oops. 12 and 12, and the 12 gets applied to the next one too. Right? Still not similar to this. What's different? I mean, the font color is a little different. That's fine. But you can see these are finer elements. You can see that there's a good amount of line height, which gives some adequate spacing between the letters and the words, and that makes it easier to read. So let's do that. Let's add line height. How do you do that? You again select the paragraph and select the paragraph element, and it says it has height 20px. So I'm going to make it 22. 24 seems like good work. All right, this works. It's quite close. There's a font difference. This is Inter and this is Open Sans, but I think overall this comes quite close. And it just took us like a few short minutes. So you have a home page now. You can create anything you want here. You can bold, italicize, add links, external links, whatever you want. All of it is ready. Cool. Our first page is done. I want to see how it looks on the actual website. So I can publish. So the good thing about Webflow is you can publish it to the internal project name.webflow.io domain before you connect your custom domain. So let's do that. We have a working website. Okay, awesome. What's the next step? The next step is to create the blog itself. So let's do that. I'm going to create a new page called blog. Well, this is not for individual blogs. This is a page to contain all the blog posts. It's this page. All the blog posts will be showing up in this one new page that I'm creating. So create, and it's empty. So I want the same things, like I want the same header. So I'm just going to go back to home and copy this header. Here's an interesting trick. Again, you don't need to do this right now. You can just copy Command C or Control C on your keyboard. Go back here and paste it. That's it, done. Or there's another way to do this. And once again, there seems to be something. Aha. Remember, I had set the font Open Sans, and this way everything on the page within this body is automatically taking the font Open Sans. When I applied that, the body itself got a CSS class called body, Webflow default put it. And when I go to a new page, this does not have body. So therefore the default font is Arial. So all I have to do is, oh, I made a mistake here. So if I want to apply styles to all the body pages instead of creating a new class, so I can select body all pages, make it Open Sans. Now, technically, if I go back to the home page, technically, if I remove this body, nothing changes because the base body style, the default style of the body has been overridden to make it Open Sans. Should have shown you this earlier. Uh, I'm not an expert. I'm just hacking things together. Okay, I want this navigation bar in the other page. In fact, I want it in every page. I want it in all the blog pages also. So when you have something repeatable where the same element needs to be repeated and shown in multiple places, you create a symbol. Symbol, component use different words, but basically means here's a layout. I'm going to put instances of this layout in various places. If I update the layout, update it in all of those places. So I'm going to create a symbol by right clicking the section and saying create symbol and say navbar. Now this is a symbol. It shows up in green, and earlier we had seen the plus element, which is to add a new element, but now you can see something else called symbol, where you can see all the symbols you have created, navbar. The beauty about navbar is I can copy this now, go to the blog page, paste it here, and if I were to change this, I don't know why I did that. If I am to change this and I go back to home, see, it's been updated. So this is an easy way to create an element and then easily update it in one place and have it reflected everywhere else. And a navbar is such an element. It'll show in every web page you build on your website, and it might be similar in every page. Footer is also something similar, which I haven't built, but footer works very similar to a navbar. It's exactly the same thing. All right. So the blog page is supposed to contain all the blog posts, but I don't have any blog posts yet. So I guess I have to go and create a blog post first. How do we do that? Um, Till now, we've created two static pages. We are building them page wise, one by one. And in the case of a blog or anything where, there's a set structure, set structure with title, body, and all that, you want to create a CMS element, CMS collection. So let's try a new button on the left side. It's called CMS. You can hover over all of these and they're quite intuitive. There's just a lot of elements. It's like Photoshop. A lot of stuff happening on the screen. Once you figure out what's happening, you become like a pro at this. So same thing is going to happen to you. Don't worry. I didn't understand what I was doing when I started using Webflow. Click on CMS. Helpful. Says create your first collection, and I want it to be blog. And it's showing me a preview that website.com/blog/blog page is the URL path. It's the URL path that's going to follow. So this sounds good for me. And what does a blog contain? We can come and edit this later, but let's just say what all does a blog contain? Contains a name. Name can be used like this, or you can just give it like a different name. It's just a label, it's just a value that you're storing. But a name is mandatory and a slug is mandatory. Slug is this. Online course 6622 in 5 days is the slug. So these are mandatory for any page. Now I want something like, I want a header. And I'm thinking for the time being, I'll use the name as the title of the blog post. So I won't make one. I want a post, let's see, what else is there? I want a post body. And is there anything else? Yeah, that's about it. So the only other thing I'll need is SEO text. So what's happening here is in this page, while this is the title of the blog, this is also the meta title. These are SEO terms. It's called meta title and meta description. You can see it here in meta tags, this website. So if I paste this, it'll show me what shows up on Google. Same title shows up on Google, this title. And this is a description text that is coming again from my website, but you can't see it here. So where do I set that description? I'm going to create a field and I'll call it meta description and make it save. Yeah. Maybe I want it to look like multiple lines, makes it easy. And finally, I want the post body, and the post body will be a rich text, just like our homepage. So rich text, let's call it post body, just using obvious names here. And finally, you can see there's an image. You can set an image field that, and you might end up adding the image right here in the blog itself. I don't, but you can. And you can, like, it'll work like a title of the title image for a blog. At the same time, you can use the same image for Open Graph. What is Open Graph? When you share a link on social media like Twitter, it populates that preview image. That image is coming from something called Open Graph data. So let's create one. Let's just call it post image for now. Create collection. There's nothing here, but let's create 5 sample items. Great. Okay. Thank you, Webflow, for creating 5 random items. But as you can see, there's a name for the post, there's a slug, there's a meta description that I have no idea what is written here. There's a post body with headings, quoted text, everything. And there's a post image also. Thank you, Webflow. And you can save it here, or you can't publish it right now, but you can save it. Saved. It says staged for publish. What that means is I just created this collection, but it's not live on the website because I haven't published the website since I created this new collection. So I'm just going to go ahead and publish it. Okay, published. Let's refresh. But how do I find it? We can't find it because we haven't created the blog page itself. The page to contain this blog post has been published. To display this blog post has not been created yet. So how do we do that? Whenever you create a new CMS collection, like the blog one that we just created, Webflow will create a page, and you can differentiate it by, obviously, it's static pages and CMS pages. And this is similar to the home page in the sense that it too has a layout, but this layout will be filled with data from all your blogs. So you can create hundreds of blogs, and all of them will be basically looking at this layout in order to get generated. So those are words. I'll just show you in action. That'll be helpful. Remember, we created a symbol for the nav bar right here. And let's create the next element now. Let's create a section container div. Now I want to add, I'm going to add a heading. So let's add a heading. And I'm going to add rich text for the post body. And you know what? For good measure, let me add the image also. You can rearrange stuff by dragging and dropping it. Okay, great. Now, I want content from my blog post to dynamically get filled here. And the way to do that is to map elements to blog, the CMS collection. So by that I mean these are elements. Name is an element, slug is an element, meta description is an element, post body. These are all elements. And I want to connect them to this page and say that, hey, when I say heading, I mean that. So let's do that. If I click on the settings wheel, it lets me choose get text from blog. And it lets me choose which element, which field from the blog CMS I want to connect it to. So I want it to be the name. That was a very short name. And this post body should come from post body. It's the only option here. There you go. Maybe let's look at a longer one. Yep. So this is the heading and this is the post body. And this is the post image, which we can also get. Post image, done. So you have a full blog right now. This is it, actually. You can just run with this. But okay, we see that the styling is breaking. Let's step back for a moment. We had already styled this page on the home page, remember? We've already styled this page. So why not use the same styles in the new page? And to do that, all we have to do is, we don't even need to copy anything. Remember, I had applied all the styles to this div block, and it's called div block 2. You can rename it if you want, but let's just go with div block 2. I can apply the exact same styles that I applied here already, to this new element by just calling it div blog 2. So let's go blog. Where's the div? Let's expand. You can also expand directly like this. There's the div blog. I'm going to call it. Ah, it's already there. There you go. Problem solved. The styles that were applied elsewhere have already been applied here, so I don't need to reapply them. My blog is ready. Okay, but how now the question is, if I publish this, but I still, how do I find that blog? Like, how do I go to a particular blog post? So this blog page, this page that will land me to one of the blog posts is still missing. So let's create that. Same thing, we had already created something called blog, and this is the parent page where I will contain all the blog posts. I did this tiny thing here. When we created the CMS, remember I chose a name such that the URL path is website.com/blog/ whatever is the name of the post, the slug of the post. So when somebody lands on /blog/slug, they land on a post. And I want to make sure that when somebody lands on just blog, they land on this page. So all I have to do is make sure when I create a new page here in the settings wheel, I make sure the URL is the same. So it's website.com/blog. So this way it's in the same path. We'll come to these later. But yeah, let's go to the blog page. We already have the nav bar. We're going to repeat the same things that we did in the previous one: section, container, div. And here's where it gets interesting. Earlier, we were connecting a CMS page, this blog page, to CMS collection items so that every time you create a new blog, it'll basically replicate this layout and create a new page. Now, this is the page I'm creating is a static page, but I still wanted to show the list of blogs. And every time I create a new blog, it should show up here, right? I don't want to manually put stuff here. So you do that by creating something, by fetching a CMS collection inside a static page. Words, again, I'll show you how that happens. So I want to fetch a CMS collection, but the prerequisite is I need some data first. So let's put that data in first. All right, so text link, heading, text block, link block. What's the easiest? Okay, let's use text link, which is basically text but with a hyperlink. Okay, this should do the trick for us. So now we have an element called text link. I'm going to apply the same styles we applied earlier by selecting div block 2. Styles got applied. I want a header here, a heading, which I'll move up, and I'll say all blog posts. And I definitely want some space between this heading and this text link. So I'm just going to add another div, just a container, just a box. I'll move the heading inside the div here, and I'll just add space below the div. Not enough, not enough, good enough. All right, so now here's the link. Now I'm going to add a new element. This is you'll scroll down a little bit and you find something called, actually, where is it? There you go. CMS collection list. Select it. You have something called a collection list wrapper, and it's asking you which collection are you referring to. We only have one, blog. So let's click on it. And as you can see, it's already showing me a preview of the different items in the blog. There are 5 blog posts showing me a preview of what's to come if I set this up correctly. So now, in order to see these, I need to put elements inside it. These are empty blocks. So I need to put something where I can populate the title or description or whatever else. So this earlier link block I took, I'm going to go and drag it inside here. So there were 5 blog posts, there are 5 text links. The reason it still says text link is I have not said what should be the text here with reference to the blog. So let's try that. I'll click on the settings icon. It says get text from blog, and I'll give it the name field. And it says get URL. This is the link text, remember? So I'm going to ask it to get URL from blog, but its URL is not really a field. It's just simply the page that this is referring to, the blog post. So there's another, whenever you see this color, it means something related to CMS. So go here and it says current blog. So what this means is whatever link this is, whichever blog post it is referring to, if I click on it, it'll just take me to that blog post. That's all. So just set it to current blog, and there you go. You have all the elements. They don't look so good, so I'm gonna put blog post link as a style name. I'm gonna put some inline elements can't have styles. Okay, that didn't work. So I'm gonna put a div block here. I'm gonna put the blog post within the div, and inside the div, I'm gonna add same thing, container. 16 is too much. 8px, 12px. Cool. I've added some spacing, but I don't like the look of this, so I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna remove the, maybe keep the underline. Okay. What is this color? 111. Let's use the same color. Yep. And when you hover over it, this is an interesting thing that I didn't show you. Since this is a link, and in links you can hover over them. I haven't actually styled these here. You know, in an element, when you hover over something, like this went underline, or this had a slide, the button slightly got highlighted when you hovered over it. You can set those styles here too. So this is a link, and if I click on this drop down, I can look at what all other styles I can apply. So let's see, hover, and let's give it the same color as this. This is 677, and I'll go back here, click on hover, give it this style. There you go. Let's preview it. That didn't work as I expected it to. Oh, it did. Okay, it did. So now when I hover, it looks like this. In fact, the styling looks so good. I want to apply it here also. So just going to select this, say on hover, put this color, go back to none. All right, awesome. We don't have these other two links right now. So for the time being, I'm just going to delete them. Okay. And this page, this blog link is supposed to link to this current page that I'm at. So I'm going to select the settings wheel, and it asks me what kind of link is this. I'm going to say it's linked to a page inside this website. The page is the blog page. Webflow will automatically show you all the static pages so that you can just select one of them instead of pasting the URL itself. And that's it. It's done. So now if I were to, there's no link here. If I were to click this, it'll take me to the blog. And I also want a link here. If I were to click this, take me to the home page. So again, instead of external URL, I'm just going to select a page. I'm going to select home. Now if I click here, home. If I click here, blog, navigation. And if I click here, blog post, the whole thing just came together. Go back to blog, go back to home. All right. I think the only thing I missed is the technical SEO setup. So let me just explain that and what's happening. When you search something on Google, search something, literally, you see this title, you see this URL, this part is the slug, and this is the meta description. Google also creates their own description by looking at your page, but you write one as a default. So how do I tell Google, here's what you need to look at? It's actually quite simple. Inside the page, let's take the home page for instance. I click on the settings wheel, and now it lets me set SEO settings. Title. Let's say this is how to build a Webflow blog home, and this is the title is this, and learn how to in a matter of hours. How much time did? It's just been 1 hour of hours. Free stream. Okay, So that's the SEO part, title and meta title and description. Now remember Open Graph, which is this image. Open Graph also needs this title and description. You can simply say in the Open Graph settings, use the same as the SEO title, use the same as the SEO meta description. And here in the image, you can create a custom image and add it. So I already have an image and Webflow, let me just save this. Webflow lets me upload images here. So let's use this new button in the window called Assets. The adorable asset is already there. So I'm just going to upload a new one. I'm going to upload this. And this is only because it's a static page. We are doing it this way. So I'll select here. I'll copy this link. Go back to the page. Click on Settings. In this Open Graph settings, in the Open Graph URL, paste the link. It'll show me a preview. Great, works. I'll just show you this in action right now. Now, if I go here to meta tags and test it, how to build a Webflow blog, home, learn how to build a Webflow blog in minutes, free live stream, and this meta image. Image is not in the right proportions, that's why it looks like this, but you get the drift. Everything works. We want to do the same thing for the other pages. We want to do it for the blog page. So let's say blogs about life, living, loving, building. I don't know what I'm writing anymore. Blog. This is my blog. Check it out. It's not really necessary to put like fancy or SEO optimized keywords here for this blog page. You just want to make sure it's very intuitive when somebody sees the link, or if somebody shares it with someone else, and the preview that will show up in WhatsApp or in social media, previews look something good enough. This is not a good preview, but I'm just setting the point. The other parts, like same as SEO title, same as meta description, it's already set. Save. So if I publish and I check the blog page, it'll work. I haven't published yet, so let's see what it says before that. Webflow put some basic, like all blog posts, but there's no description and there's no image. And now I'm going to publish this website again. Let's try it again. There you go. Blogs about living, loving. This is my description. And I didn't set an image in this case, so there's nothing. Okay. Similarly, I want these blog posts to also have their own metadata. So that when it shows up here in Google, or if somebody shares it, there is some, like how I showed you here, there is some data that shows up. All right. And how to do that is, it's quite simple again. Click on settings. By now, I think you know. In this case, I'm not even going to type out a title tag. I'm just simply going to say, take the name of the blog post and set that as the meta title. And maybe you'll call it at the end, your name's blog. So this is the static text which will get added in every page. If you want to. In my case, I think, yeah, it's there. This part. This is the static part, and this is the name of the blog post itself. So you can do this. And in the description, remember we had a field called meta description. Just put meta description here. Done. And oh yeah, I missed a field, sorry. I missed Open Graph, same as SEO title, same as description. In this case, since it's a CMS generated page, I can select an image from the CMS. And remember I created something called post image. So I'll just select it. Whatever is the post image will become the Open Graph image. Let's publish. Look at this. There you go. And let's check it out here. Done. This is as much SEO as you need to, technical SEO as you need to do. Apart from this, you would want to connect your website to Google Analytics and also go to the search console on Google and claim this website as your own. There's going to be some process here itself which will show you how to do it. But go and claim this website, your website as your own after you publish it to your custom domain. And that way data will start flowing in. Google will recognize this website. It'll index it quickly enough. And it'll also start showing you data on where are people coming from, what are the keywords that they're typing when they show up on your website. But yeah, this is enough for you to get started. And let's see, where are we at the live stream? How can you add rounded image? Oh yeah, sure. It's quite simple. You apply styling to the image itself. So, or maybe an easier way to do it is, I'm not sure in what context you're asking, but let's go to the blog page. Maybe you want to by default make this rounded for all the blog images. So I am going to go to this section called, I think it's borders. Yep. And it's something called border radius. Kind of makes sense. We're doing something around the borders. I'm going to add 8px and see what happens. Okay, slightly. Yeah. If I make it 100%, and if it's a square image, it'll become round. But this is not a square image, perfectly square image. Therefore, it's an ellipse right now. But let's just say I want to give it slight curves on the edge. That's it. This does the trick. 32 seems a bit much. Let's make it 16. Looks nice. So yeah, this is how you make rounded images, but I'll tell you an easier way. Suppose you want to add, circular image somewhere. Just, suppose this is the image. Oh, this is the, okay, I don't know what that image is. Actually, I did this for my girlfriend's profile picture. So I took the picture, I cropped some of it out, and then I rounded it. And the way to round it was, actually, let's take a random image and show it to you from scratch. Let's take Doggo. Doggo when he was as big as a rat. So let me create a square frame, 600 by 600. I'll paste this inside the frame, resize it slightly. Okay, now this is a square frame. That means when I apply a border radius of 100%, in this case I can't put 100%, so I'm just going to put a high enough value. It becomes a perfect circle. Because technically if you take a square and start curving the edges, if you keep curving it, it becomes a circle. So you have a circle, you export it, you have a rounded image. That's the easy way to do it in Figma. But suppose you wanted to do this here. Suppose you had a square image. You would basically make the border radius 100%, and it would become a square. Since this image is, sorry, a circle. Since this image is not a square, it's an ellipse. And if I publish this, it's gonna get applied to all the blog pages. So you can see the curve here. Done. All right. I've actually managed to build the whole blog in an hour. Thinking what's the best use of time next? Like, what should I show you that's most useful next? Because technically, this is enough. You can start publishing content on your blog. Uh, and what comes next after this is styling. Like, how do you make it look better? So maybe let's do a little bit of styling. Like, let's make these links fancy. Let's add the date of publish, and let's maybe create a simple footer, maybe a footer like not like this, a footer like this. Let's do that. And I think that'll be a good enough place for you to get started. So let's create the footer first, or actually the easiest thing to do is to style this. So let's style these posts. It's already blog post link. I don't like this color specifically. I don't want an underline either. So I'm gonna go to typography, remove the text decoration. Okay, but now it doesn't look that great. Don't like it that much yet. What should I do? Let's make the font size slightly bigger. Let's use a different color maybe. Hmm. All right, that should make it stand out a little bit. Not enough, but just a little bit. Um, I want to change the font to Inter, but I can't. Guess it's live with it. Let's add this. Let's add January 31, 2021, the publish date. So within the CMS collection, there's already an item called blog post. I want to add a new item below it, and it's not going to be a link. It's just going to be text. So just plain text. So I'll add text block here, and I'll get the text from the blog. And there's already fields called created, published, updated. So let's just take published on. All right. Now I see that this font size is quite similar to this, and I want to make this slightly bigger. So make this 18. Put more spacing here actually. So it's got 32. Let's make it 48. I want to add more spacing between the blog posts. So I'm going to select this box again and make it 16, maybe 20 in fact. And I want to add some spacing between these two. So I'm going to take the text block and just add maybe 2px, 4px. Maybe a little bit more space between each link. Yep. And this text is too big, so I just want to make it slightly smaller. 12. I reduce the height. Done. Looks good. Let's go back to blog. Awesome. Let's see. Let's add another. Let's add another link here. I think maybe a lot of people might want to link their Twitter here, or maybe some other social profile. So let's say you want to link your Twitter. And this is an external link. So I'm going to select this link. Select this link. And I'm going to select type external URL. I'm going to go to my Twitter. This URL. And put it here. And I want it to open in a new tab, new window. So let's do that. Let's click on it. Up, done. Blog Twitter. Here's the thing I just realized. So when I'm on the blog page, it's not showing me that I'm on the blog page, right? Like I clicked on blog, I'm on the blog page. It's not really telling me I'm on the blog page. So neat little thing. Just like how you have your none hover pressed focused visited here, and we have done styling for hover. As you can see, it looks like that. But I think we can also apply the same. Something went wrong. We can also apply the same style if you are currently on this. Something went wrong here. This selector got stuck. Just going to refresh it. If I'm currently on a page, I want to create a quick visual indicator. Like imagine there were 5 links here. Actually, there are. So I haven't done this, but how I would do it is I would add a style which shows that I'm currently on this page. And since I haven't done it here, let me just show you here actually. Something I'm going to add to my blog. So if I'm on this page and it says it's current, so it's already selected that style because I'm currently on this link of this page. Webflow recognizes that. I want to set the same color as hover. So what was the color on hover? It's this. So let's go here. Hover. Two hashes. Maybe I want to make it slightly darker. That didn't work. So this should be good enough. So now when I'm on the blog page, it's going to tell me I'm on the blog page. And if you had more links, it would work the same way. All right. So we have this, we have slightly more beautiful list of collection items. And now let's add a footer, the final piece. The footer is basically, we're going to basically add something like this footer. Let's do it. This is slightly more, actually not that complex, but yeah, rounded image, somebody was asking. So I'm going to add a regular image and then round it. Let's see how that goes. Let's go to our blog. And remember I told you that the footer is essentially like another nav bar. It really is, but we're going to create it from scratch anyway. New section, container, div, and in div, I can use this div block and the same stylings that were applied. Maybe I want, let's maybe apply new styles. So inside the div, I need an image and a text. So let's add an image. Let's add text. Remember the drill. These are styled by default on top of each other, but I want them to be side by side. So I select this. And also I want them to be apart. So I do this. Actually, in this case, I don't really want them to be apart. Yeah, I don't want them to be apart. So I'm going to align them to the left. I'm going to align the side by side. Okay, this div has some styles. Div block 2 has these styles. I actually want to take the same styles and I just want to modify them slightly. Like the paddings, I'll maybe use different ones or maybe the same ones actually. So let's go for div block 2. All right, we have the same styles. Great. Ooh, the problem with div block 2 is it it's currently putting elements horizontally. There you go. I can't do that. So if you have an existing style and you want to take that base style, but you want to apply some changes on top of the base style, the base style remains the same. If these padding and stuff remains the same, then the easiest way is to apply a combo style, a next style. So div block 2 footer. So now whatever styles I'm going to apply right now are not going to affect div block 2, but it's taking all of div block 2 styles and modifying them on top of it. So I'm going to change the display to flex. It's already on horizontal, so it's side by side. And I'm going to upload an image by clicking on this. I don't want it from the CMS. I want to upload manually an image. So let's select an image from 10R. This time for real, SpongeBob. Nice. Maybe this one. Upload sponge. All right. As you can see, this image is quite big. I want to give it some size restrictions. So I'm going to set the width of it. I'm going to say the width is 80, not 80, 160px. There you go. So it'll try to constrain the width without constraining the height. Now, if I add a height also, okay, it loses the aspect ratio. But if I only set one of these constraints, then it maintains the aspect ratio. So in this case, this is good enough. And somebody wanted it to be round. So, sorry, not somebody, I just don't recall your exact name. This image is not being able to highlight that it's round, but do you see it? See, the hands are visible. You put 100%, it became a circle. Maybe a different image is going to show it to you better. That looks weird, but why not? Yeah, let's do this. There you go. Radius. If I remove the radius, it's a square. You can put it as 0 also. If I put 100, so circle. Now this is a text, and I basically want a text like this. Hey, I'm Preetham. You can find me elsewhere. So let me just copy paste this for now. Cool. Doesn't look that pretty yet. What's the problem? This and this is exactly side by side. I need to add some space to it. So I'm going to say that, hey, I'm going to put this inside a div, the image, and I'm going to add some space. Okay, the div added some constraints to the image. Not sure why. All right, okay, cool. I got it. I'll explain that to you in a bit. But I have a div and I have a text block. I'm going to add some space to the side. So 16px. That's it. It moved the element to the side. It tried to push it away, but even this one is constrained. It cannot move further beyond this, so it just moved elements to the next line. Now this one itself, let's make it 16, 24, 1A, 1A, 1A. Yeah, this is good enough. The text is currently, I need it to be center aligned to this image. So I want to apply some styles to this text block basically. So I'm going to add a div. I'm going to put this text block inside the div. And now I'm going to say in the div something called align, which is in the which lets me basically align elements inside the div center. Done. So what did I do again? I have a parent box. which contains two boxes. One contains the image, one contains the text. In the image box, I applied some styles, like I gave it 16px margin on the side. In the text box, I applied some styles saying that whatever is inside this div block, like in this case, there's only text, center align it to the div. And since the div expands from here to here, the top to bottom, the text block basically aligned itself to the center. Let me just show you again. This is the div block. It's taking the same height available from the image. This is the div block. I'm saying you have this whole block, whatever is inside, align it to the center. That's it. Now if I go here, that still looks good. Looks good, but okay, one final change. It looks good till here, but when you go to mobile, this gets constrained too much. You now want the image to show up on top and this to show up below it. And the style that we originally applied on this parent box, and we said it's horizontal, we can change it to vertical. And thanks to cascading style sheets, CSS, the style will only be applied to this, the smallest mobile screens. On the earlier screens, the same previous style of horizontal alignment remains. So let's go here. Now, when I do this, I want all the elements within it to be center aligned. So I'm going to select align and center. And also I don't need this right margin anymore because it's vertically aligned. So I'm going to make it 0. But I do need something below it this time because the elements are stacked on top of each other. So I added 16. And that's it. Let's publish this and see how it looks. Okay, refresh. These are the new looking, better looking blog post links. I click on one of them, and this is the blog itself. This is Twitter, takes me to my Twitter. And now if I go down, I'm seeing the footer, and the footer will be on all the blog posts because I put it in the blog post design. And let's actually look at this page on mobile. So this is Command-Shift-C, the developer console. And I can see this is how it looks on mobile, the page. This looks neat, actually. And this one also accordingly. If I go to a slightly larger screen like an iPad, that's the style in an iPad, looks neat. And I go back to desktop, looks exactly like it was. Okay, I think this is the end of it, unless there is something else I missed in the curriculum. Publishing your first blog post, connecting to CMS, everything is done. Okay, this took less time than I thought. Okay, doesn't seem like there are any more questions. I said that you can create your blog and get started in 3 hours, but turns out you can actually do it in 82 minutes, out of which I definitely spent like the first 5-10 minutes or first 5-7 minutes doing something else. So 75 minutes, not bad. 75 minutes to start a blog post from scratch while explaining it. Again, it will take you longer than this. Pause the video. I'll share the recording. I'll break this up into pieces also, like based on what I explain in which part of the video. Make it easy for you to navigate and share it as a playlist. But just take your time, go through each step. You might not understand exactly what I'm saying, and that's perfectly fine. What you want to do instead is you want to replicate the steps I did. Just try to copy the exact steps that I did and just see what happens and learn by observation. And whenever you don't understand something, Google is your best friend. And in this case, Webflow University is an even better friend because I honestly learned everything I needed to about Webflow from the Webflow University. Not the integrations, but yeah, there were two courses that really helped. One was the crash course, and the crash course is helpful when there are various elements like this box model that I just explained to you. What is a section container? What are layout spacing? All of those options to design and change the layout, font sizes, and borders, and etc. They have short videos on each of those concepts. And how you want to approach this is the moment you face trouble, like, okay, you're trying to understand what's happening here. How the hell is this working? Go to the crash course and find that exact chapter. So maybe in this, it's Flex. There you go. It says Flexbox. So go to the Flexbox chapter, learn what Webflow University is saying about how Flexbox works, then continue building, continue copying exactly what I've shown you. And side by side, you want to, okay, I went to the wrong link. Yeah, side by side, there's one more course that you should look at. It's called Build a Full Website from Scratch. Full site build. You'll find all of this on university.webflow.com. Full site build is a much more comprehensive, more complicated website, which looks much, much better than the one I made, obviously. Uh, and what you can do is once you're able to run around the interface and do stuff like at the basic level, take this course. Build this whole site from scratch. It says it's a 4 hour course. It'll probably take you 2, 3 days or a whole weekend if you like do it at a stretch and pause and understand each step. But it is enough for you to learn almost all the things that you need to know about Webflow. All right. With that, the stream comes. The stream is not come to an end. The how to build a personal blog on Webflow comes to an end. I have a small bonus for you, and the bonus is Sankalp and I built an app over the last few weekends, and it's a very simple app. It's called Daily Habits, and all it does is lets you track your habits. Uh, I haven't for the last few days, as I have been just completely immersed in work, but that's not a good excuse. So I shall restart this and follow it diligently. But as you can see, we have a habit tracker. I've dreamt of having a habit tracker since forever. Like I think the first time I used the habit tracker 3 or 4 years ago, and I used to always be dissatisfied with existing habit trackers. So I would go back to pen and paper every time. I would actually draw something similar to this, but for the lack of space, end up only drawing 7 days at a time. And over a period of time, I ended up doing uh, creating this template, which I was following for a while. And then I was like, okay, I can't do this spreadsheet on my phone because it's hard to do it on the phone. And I was adding notes in comments. So I told Sankalp, hey, I'm doing this. Some other people are using it. My girlfriend was already using the same spreadsheet. Said, why not build a simple app? It'll be fun. It'll be a weekend project. And we built it with the help of our friend Prashant. But this works now. So you can do this. I really love the colors that came out. I actually took it from here. I copied from here and brought it here. And you can add new notes here. Now, the part about the bonus is I haven't created a landing page for this yet. And I thought I'll just create a landing page on the stream itself. And it might be a fun exercise. So if you're up for this, I'm going to continue. Um, Actually, can't see a way unless anybody comments right now. But I'm going to continue anyway. I'll chop this video up separately later. And I'm just going to put together a basic landing page and show you that, we created a home page right now, but you can actually create kind of anything in a very short amount of time, the first version of it using Webflow. So let's do it. Okay, I had created an empty site project, but I hadn't had the time to create it. So let's create the Daily Habits website. And I'm just going to create one page because in the interest of time. And it's going to be slightly different from the page we just created. So I'm just doing this as we go along. Need something is wrong about this layout. Yeah. All right. So nav section container div. Don't really need much stuff here. So section container, and I just want a heading. Maybe not a heading. Just text, not block quote text. And I'll apply some styling later, but just call it Daily Habits. And I have some designs and styles for it. So let's go here. There is a file somewhere here called tracker app. Let me rename it to Daily Habits. All right. I have something like an icon. Not really an icon, but it is what it is. I like it. Yep. Because I mean, do you get it? The purpose is to check a day, so the icon is to check. Let's try a circular daily habits icon, and I'm gonna add the icon right here. Maybe I'll just create an image out of it. Let's do this. If you're doing it, might as well do it correctly. Hmm. Just had a thought. Do you think I should tweet or tweet that I'm creating the landing page of a new product? Yeah, might as well. Why not? Right. Is there one for drumroll? All right, that should be enough. Hmm. Confetti. I'm bad at emojis. I use like 5 of them, and I guess works. Watch me live stream the build. And I did want to add an. I actually have a GIF that I created showing you the app in action. So maybe I'll put that here. Daily Habits demo. There's demo GIF. Yeah, let's add the GIF here. And let's share it. And where's the secret? I'm just writing all of this. I doubt too many people are going to be hyped about it, but I'm just going for it. This is my creation and enjoying the hell out of it. Uh, Absolutely, Parul. Thanks so much for watching the stream. Uh, Thank you all of you who watched it and the 11 thumbs up that I got. That's the highest number of thumbs up I've got on YouTube. So I'll call that a win. But I'm going to create this landing page now. I'm going to do it fast. I'm going to show you how this can be done. Let's see. This is daily habits. I want to use the font that I really like. I want to make this text slightly gray. Maybe 3 good enough. Add 1%. Yes, make it medium. 2%, too much. Center line, 18, 6. Yep. Remove the buffer. All right. So instead of a text block, I thought, why not just add an image? So here's the image. Choose the image. Should work. It's a little big. So what I'll do is set width to 120 px. Too less. Okay. 240 px. Too much. 160. 180. Okay, and I want it to be at the center of the page. Not that. Yes, and I also want to give it some space to breathe. Yeah, that works, right? Okay, too big on mobile, so I'm just gonna make it 160 here, and then 140 here. No, 160 is fine. Cool. I have something, and now I'm gonna put uh, text and image, thinking what's the right layout. Maybe I'll just put giant text. So let's create a new section. Section here. I should select body all pages and set enter. Yeah, inside the section container, inside container div, inside the div a heading. And I think I had created a little bit copy and I did not like go all the way. So yeah, simplest habit tracker. Okay, that's a bold statement, but let's see how that goes. I want to create a left-right layout. Nah, never mind. Let's create a layout like this. Let's add some, and I want things to be aligned. That didn't work. No, that didn't work. Yep, that should work. On this planet, yeah. Needs spacing on the side. Yep, problem solved. Oh, it's not, yeah. Yep, done. I applied the align button with alignment, which is applied on the text, and I applied this center align, which is on the div, which is saying whatever is inside it, center align it. Two separate alignments. And now I want to add a subtitle. So let me add a vertical, sorry. And it's for some reason everything is not center align. What should I say after using? Oh, that's about it actually. Daily. That's the pitch of daily habits in a GIF. Uh, so let's say do more by doing less, or rather, I don't know. What's another copy? Finally, a habit tracker that helps you do more by doing less. Let's just go with it for now. I want to add some space here, so let's add 16. I like the style that much, so let's add some style to it. Color one, maybe the opposite way. No, that's not good. Just fine for now. Go with it. This is very bold. Let's make it semi-bold. This is medium. Should be fine for now. Fuck, I applied all the styles to the blooper. I applied all the styles to the mobile design and sorry, the tablet design, and it didn't cascade up. So let me apply all the styles I can. What did I apply here? 16. Okay. What else did I apply here? 16, 24, 16 blooper. That was a blooper. And this is bold and this is semi-bold. Let's make it semi-bold. This is normal. Okay, cool. We're back on track. Want this font to be 40, 48, maybe more. On the font size should go down, so we'll go to 36 and 48. And this should go to 32 and 40. Not good enough. This is good enough actually. Yep, this should be good. Finally, this also. No, 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 not here. Here. Yeah. Cascade. Let the styles cascade. Okay. And the last element I'll add is an image, which will also be in the same block. I'll add 32px here. Maybe a little bit more. Actually, never mind. And I'll upload this image. Should I upload the GIF? Yeah, GIF would be nice actually. Thanks, people. You're still watching it. Thanks, Neha. All right, there you go. Daily Habits is the simplest habit tracker on this planet. Dev is gonna. What am I supposed to use? Where am I supposed to use? I'm just gonna keep it here. Dev, the who's leading marketing at Delight Chat, is gonna be like, no, you're supposed to put title everywhere, or like you're supposed to use uppercase and all the. I'm not sure what he's gonna say. I'm just gonna leave it for now, and take his feedback later. This needs to be closer. Yes, sounds great. And just for today, so this is actually on Gumroad right now, and the product is $19 a year. Uh, $19 a year, which I feel like is a very nominal price if you not just because it's it's a price, but more like you're committing to something by paying $19, so it's not zero. But then you also get like a whole year of output out of it, and if you end up doing it just because you've committed to it by spending that $19 first, which is basically three coffees or something, uh, four coffees maybe, um, feel like the ROI in your life can be way higher. Anyway, the point was we wanted to put a price tag so that people put some commitment first before doing this. But I, I don't mind if you guys copy the links from here, but I'm going to add a discount code. I'm going to give 100% off, and I'm going to give 100 people this discount code as soon as it goes live. Save changes, share. So I'm going to put this link. Let's actually put it on Twitter and say, hey, first 100 people. Where did my post go? Okay. Uh, Lifetime. This is limited. For first 100 people, they get daily habits for free for life. Get it before the coupons run out. Let's see. Run. Yes. Or maybe time. Shit, my emoji game is so bad. But let's limited time offer. Fire. I don't know. I just find fire and rocket safe, uh, safe as like emojis. So get daily habits for free for life. Okay. All right. Get it. Let's run out. Let's see. And people in the live stream, you already saw more links. Up to you if you want to use them. But I would love it if you use this product, give me feedback, and more importantly, if setting habits and following them in a simple manner made your life slightly better, made your life slightly more composed, more organized, uh, whatever helps you, in whichever way it helps you. If you tell me how it helped you, that would make my day. But yeah, let's go back. Okay, so I have this, and now people need a way to get the app, so I'm going to add a button. Uh, Thankfully, Webflow gives me a button layout. I'm going to add some styles to it. So let's do that. Let's add a div block, put the button inside this, add some spacing, and there's already spacing below it. Maybe a little bit more. I don't like this style, so I'm gonna change the color to yes, that, and too much for this is too black, so let's make it right. Get daily habits. And now this part is simple actually. I just need to put the share link and embed overlay. I think. Oh yeah, I think I should. I just need to put this link. Let's try it. Button URL. Mm, let's see what happens. I'll connect the this thing. I connect this to the domain dailyhabits.xyz later. Just realized I didn't really put the link. Website under construction. Right. Okay. So if I click on this, it takes me to Gumroad, which is good enough actually. So there you go. Oh, I put the wrong link. I'm supposed to just put this link because the coupon is limited time, remember? Anyway, let's increase the font size of this. Let's make it medium. The text inside is white because, not sure because why. Yeah, there you go. Not sure. Okay, this is good enough for now. We have a tracker that lets you do more. I really think this, yeah, can be less. And above this can be more. Does this look good on mobile? It does. Okay, so a simple landing page like this is done already. And I want to take it further a little bit. And let's see, how long is the live stream? I'd committed 3 hours, but I think I'll stop it at the 2 hour point. So that means I've got like 13 minutes left. Let's see, how much can I get done in another 13 minutes? Where did it go? Yeah. All right. So what I want is to do a very standard left-right layout. So, have a feature on the left and an image on the right, maybe. Or do I have enough images for that? Like, can I fill that up? Visualize your entire month, set flexible goals instead of streaks, and make notes to reflect on your journey, and finally, fully responsive. 4 points. Let's do this. Create a section. Sections are like parent level elements. So you have to select the body, click a section, it'll add it to the bottom. Same shit after that. Container, div. I want 2 divs inside this. I'll tell you why. Actually, you should know why, because I'm going to put an element on the left and I'm going to put an element on the right. So I'm going to make this div block, style it. It's horizontal, put it on both edges, both ends, edges. Is that correct? Yes. And what else do I want it to do? Div block 2, 12, and 12. Okay. Yep, same thing here. 12, 12. It's already applied there. And now inside this first block, I'm going to put a heading. I'm going to put text. So this is the H1. Okay, I need to put some space between this section and this one. So I'm just going to put 64px, maybe a little bit more 96, and I want that to be less 64. Yeah, should be good enough. Need something to give me some space at the bottom. Just a random element I've added, and I've added 100px. Give me some breathing room. I want to be able to scroll down to the bottom and see what's happening. Actually, instead of that, set height 300px. Yeah, better. Okay, so I have one point here and I have an image here. So I'm going to put the image inside this. Yep. And what's going to be the point? Let's see. I probably want this container to be a little more constrained than the above, but let's see. Where did it go? Yes. First point is visualize your entire month at there you go. I want each, so I have this whole width available to me, and I want to do something here now. I want each of these blocks to get maximum 50% of the width. Even this one, this div block should get maximum 50% of the width. So let me add an image to it and see if it worked. PNG. It did. So as you can see, maximum 50% is allowed for each block. And I'm going to add a little bit of styling here. Maybe like 16px. Do I even need to? I don't need to actually. And I want to center align this element. Remember here, that's it. This is ready. So this is one feature block. And now I want a few more. I want to add some space at the top and bottom of a section. So I'm going to give this section maybe 64px here and 64px here. I created separately this spacing. Let me reset it. Let me reset this. Yeah. So instead, I'm going to apply the style inside the section where I give it space. And maybe I want to give it more space from above and separate this visually. I want to put 64 below and 96, 64, and below this, still fine. Okay. Once it reaches, let's make this heading 2. Yeah. Or maybe heading 3. Yeah, too small. Okay. Once it reaches this, I don't want it to be left right. Just like how in the footer that we made earlier, I want it to go vertical at this point because otherwise it doesn't make sense. It's not enough space. And when it goes vertical, I want the elements to all be center aligned. Done. I don't need the side margin, so I'm making it 0. I'm going to add some margin below it. And the reason why the elements are small is, remember, we applied that 50% width. Don't need to do that anymore. So we can just make it 100%. Same for this, for the div block, I mean, 100%. And voila. And do I also want it to be center? And yes, I do. I want it to be center aligned from here onward. So done. And I think I don't want it to be bold. I want it to be semi-bold. I think I'll keep this as bold. Better as bold. Bold, 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 bold. Good enough. Visualize your entire month. Now I'm going to just replicate this section, but I want the layout to be reversed. So I'm going to say reverse div. I'm applying a style on top of a style. And I think there's a way to do that in CSS where I can reverse the alignment. I'm going to try. I don't know actually if that should be possible. Not possible. Damn it. Okay, no reverse div. All I'm going to do is reverse these two. That's it. And whatever styles I'd applied where I put this 16 on the left, I should change this div block and say no, I should actually just change this div block to a new one, 16, apply the same styles, go here. The image comes on top if I do this. I definitely remember doing this somewhere else, but I don't recall right now what was the way to change the layout. Spacing. layout, horizontal, grid. Okay, never mind. Guess what? I don't know something here, and I guess the when I did it previously, I must have copied some website and done it. But for now, let's live with it. There's only 4 points anyway. So the next point is set flexible goals instead of streaks. And I'll take a screenshot. This is a very rudimentary landing page, but I'm just creating it so that habit exercise and number of times to perform it in a month. Okay, so change the screenshot to the new one from Zappy. Yes. Right. And I'll just copy these two again, paste them to the bottom, this one to the bottom. And the next point is make notes to reflect on your journey. And I'll take a screenshot of the app doing that. Done. And the final point is fully responsive. Fully responsive on mobile. Right. And the way to do that is I'm gonna this so 2. It is fully responsive actually, because so that you can open it on your mobile and do it in a jiffy. So I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. Good enough. Let's place Zappy. Ooh, that just makes me realize these images need a max height. So these images don't have a max height today, but I think I should set one like 400 px. That also does this. So then they should be aligned to the center. Nope. Nope. So nope. Huh. I think I just discovered something new. So what is happening is there's something called order. Ah, there you go. The problem is solved. So this element, if I go here and if I go here, the reason it's, yeah. Now I basically want this to be last. Done. That's it. There's something called order. And now the styles are set correctly. Amazing. I just discovered that by mistake. I did not know that was how it is done. And this image needs a little bit of work. So what's happening is in this div, which is max width 50%, but that didn't work. I basically want the element a div long image. Maybe I won't set max with 50%. Maybe I should set max with auto. No, that doesn't work. I'm just shooting in the dark right now. I'm trying to figure out how I should place this in the center here. I think I'm doing something wrong. Not sure where exactly I'm going wrong though. There should have been an align, but it doesn't seem to be there. That's because the container is not containing anything. The width of the images. Max height is 400. Let me reset that. That doesn't help. And then I want this to be, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna pick this up later, but let's set max height like a little bit higher, and maybe for this block. Oh yeah, maybe that solves the problem. Okay, I accidentally solved the problem. Things happen. 24. Maybe I shouldn't use padding in this case. I should be using margin, but it's fine for now. It should work out. 20 is good enough. No, 20 is not good enough. 24. Something here. Yep. And I think the font size should go down. 28 and 24. And then this should come down. Cool. The landing page is ready. And maybe I just want something at the end that just says, sign up today, get started for the rest of your life. Some corny line like that. How much time do I have? I am out of time, so I'm going to end this right now. Uh, get started. Today. Corny, but daily habits. First 100 subscriptions free. What's the coupon code? This one. Done. Remove the image. This div block I just added at the bottom to add some space, but I guess I can keep it, but instead of 300, make it something more like 120. All right, this page is live. And I think we took like less than something like 20-25 minutes, and we created a landing page for a product from scratch. Simplest habit tracker. I didn't use existing components that I had because I wanted to show you how this can be done from scratch quite easily once you know your way around the interface. And the beauty is that every time you create a component like this style, now you can save it somewhere, and then next time you need something like a title and CTA and an image, it gets really easy for you to just copy paste and edit it. So that was the real purpose of showing you this, that it gets easier as you do it more. As you use Webflow more, you kind of start collecting designs and components. I have like a huge collection of that, uh, especially when I was creating the Delight Chat website. So that really helps. Okay, I'm going to call it a day. This has been great. I hope we get a few users for Daily Habits who then share their feedback with us. And it seems like there are some messages. I hope you had fun watching this, and thank you for spending this time. It's a Saturday morning. I usually do such things on Sunday, but Monday is holy. I really want a holiday. Sankalp, the whole team actually, we've all been working really hard at Delight Chat, and we were like, hey, we really need a little bit of a holiday. So thought I'll do this today. Share the link. I'll chop up this into smaller videos. Share it tomorrow on the blog, on the newsletter, and take like a whatever is left of that long weekend and relax. I hope you all have a good weekend. Take care, stay safe. COVID is still out there, it's not over yet. So just take care of your family and all the people in your family. Have a good weekend.